The big news tonight will be Joy Reid's final show on MSNBC. Single tear, white woman tears happening right here, Joy. She was officially fired over the weekend because she's a racist, horrible news anchor with no ratings. And that's really been the truth for a long time. MSNBC's under new management, and I guess they decided to come to grips with reality. The truth is, this is very sad news for us, as she's provided so much material over the years. I feel the way I felt when Brian Stelter got fired, but he came back, and you never know. I'm sure Joy Reid will wind up doing something where we will continue to get to respond to her absolutely insane POV.
So let me just say to Megyn Kelly, in my 30-some years as a journalist and my 50-some years as a person of color, go fuck yourself. Okay? I usually don't like to talk about her because she's one of those people, she thrives on it. She has built the second part of her career on being a troll. So this is what Megyn Kelly said about Joy Reid. Right?
Megyn Kelly replied, Joy Reid's show, which were dedicated to nothing more than stirring or racial division in the country, has thankfully been cancelled. Yes, she is, with a guest talking about how black people won't follow Democrat orthodoxy and think for themselves are puppet. Megyn Kelly did not stop there. This is another tweet. Remember when Joy Reid read laughingly mock white people tears as pathetic and offensive to her, who is crying now? Joy, good riddance to the absolute worst person on television, and shame on MSNBC for letting it go on this long.
People say like, oh, you shouldn't celebrate when somebody loses their job. Well, who says I can't? I am celebrating. She deserves it. She never should have been on there to begin with. She's talentless. Honestly, she makes her talent, so-called talent, is being a racist on TV. That's her talent. She'll say the most incendiary, nasty things possible about whites and blacks who are conservative. That's the main criterion. If you're white, doesn't matter your politics stripes, she doesn't like you. If you're a black person who's conservative, she hates you even more than she hates the whites. Clarence Thomas is one. I mean, anybody who pipes up as a black conservative is the enemy to Joy Reid. We checked in just to see if, has she changed at all? What happened on her most episode? So we went to Friday just to pull a clip and take a look at this one. This is Wajahat Ali, who is also a terrible person, who was part of that infamous panel with Don Lemon about the Republicans and their maps and they're so stupid. So here he is now, this time with Joy Reid and what would maybe be her ultimate or penultimate show.
Every community has what I call their chickens for Colonel Sanders. What I want to tell the Byron Donalds, and every community's got a Donald. I got a Cash Patel. We got a Nimrata, we got a Haley. We all got them, all right? What I want to say is this. They'll never love you. They'll never love you. No matter what you do, they'll never love you. You can never wipe out that brown or black skin.
She's shaking her head up and down as he's saying it. You can't be a Republican if you're Byron Donalds.
PM hour all the other nights except for Mondays. So that's a big change. An even bigger programming change is at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern, where Joy Reid's show, The Reidout, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I am 51 years old. I have been gainfully employed since I was 12. And I have had so many different kinds of jobs, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call, and I understand that, but that's what I think. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it. But there's just one other piece of it that you should know. From your side of the TV screen, you will mostly see changes in terms of who's in the anchor chair. And actually, everybody who's going to be in anchor chairs from here on out are great colleagues and great at what they do. And you are not going to be disappointed in who's on our air and what you're going to be seeing. But one thing you cannot necessarily see is that the people who get our shows on the air, they're really being put through the ringer. Dozens of producers and staffers, including some who are among the most experienced and most talented and most specialist producers in the building, are facing being laid off. They're being invited to reapply for new jobs. That has never happened at this scale in this way before when it comes to programming changes, presumably because it's not the right way to treat people, and it's inefficient and it's unnecessary, and it kind of drops the bottom out of whether or not people feel like this is a good place to work, and so we don't generally do things that way.
My show had value, and that, I'm sorry.
Yes, Megyn Kelly predicted this few months ago that this lady will be fired, and we are seeing it happening. She broke down in tears on camera. I don't know if you've seen that video. I'm going to show you the complete video. When you take a look at this, Joy Reid started crying on camera after her show was cancelled on MSNBC. Reid was seen weeping tears from her eyes as she reacted to the news. What I was doing had value, contradicting what Megyn Kelly said here. She was doing nothing. She was talentless. The black people are melting down on social media about this. I have a couple of videos I'm going to show you. They are now saying, oh, Democrats are turning on successful black people. Oh, she just went viral. Oh, I've seen all type of reactions on social media about this. It is important to show you. Some says they should cancel MSNBC. Who cares? Who is even watching MSNBC? I don't know.
A little walk down memory lane.
Well, and so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you, where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted and not just black folks, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about God and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object, to little babies being, and where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God.
I see some people on my comment sections when I do videos like this going off on me, some unsubscribing. I don't get why. This is me. If you want to follow me, this is how I see things. Joy Reid did a lot. What she's putting out here, calling out, is because I went hard on Trump, things like that's not the case. You can go hard on Trump every single day. That is a song we have been saying with the mainstream media. That is not the reason you're fired. You know exactly what you've been doing in the past. You don't struggle to bring people together. Every single day you struggle to segregate. And it keeps getting worse and worse. These people could not take it again. Yeah. We saw that coming. Black people are everywhere crying this, crying that. It is ridiculous. Please stop.
Not to respond. Employees at the Department of Justice and Department of Defense are also being told not to respond. And you thought your HR department was chaotic. In short, nobody really knows what to do. Just the usual Trump world reality show chaos. But the email presented Americans with one of the other really perfect responses to fascism. And Donald Trump, the guy who handed his biggest donor the keys to the whole federal government for him to do whatever he pleases with it, is underwater in every single poll. From Gallup to the Washington Post to CNN to Reuters, you name it. Other than his MAGA cult, nobody wants this chaos and confusion. And it also raises the question of what is the actual waste, fraud, and abuse that is still there?
You know what your old boss is so good at? He's so good at picking picking off little constituencies.
Weeks. Yep. But it's a state where women lost their reproductive rights.
Thank you guys for always been sharing out my videos. If you see clips after this, that is for algorithm.
Justification, she was asked this week.
There was a meeting behind closed doors a short time ago between the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass,
departments.
When I talked about it, it's from the city, from the...
You know, I mean, I don't know how many sets you visited, but everybody was like, you know, and then, you know, you get, when the closer you get to the actual set where the shooting is, and then that red zone.
And he did this little dance, like, I've been talking with these, you know, with the governor of Hawaii about what to do. We got some ideas, speculate, we're going to have some meetings. Like, he's
really?
Oh, show it to him, Jamie. It's so creepy.
Around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward.
Never in California questioned whether or not we as taxpayers in the largest state in the union should support the people of Louisiana at a time of emergency and need. We never condition it.
These people don't actually care. They're not actually trying to find a solution.
If you don't know, Karen Bass is a goner. She's gone. There's no chance of re-election.
The city will only purchase from vendors that support DEI, said the...
I remember when we had a fire when Trump was president, and he came in and he said, you don't rake. You're not raking. And we all did jokes about it.
In policy.
The city of the Palisades is burning. And, you know, I flew here last night. I was on a plane.
You getting water to areas that need...
He's been trained.
Yeah, and then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel.
The Democratic Party has about everything.
The next department that appears to be on the chopping block is the Department of Education. Just earlier today...
Tyranny is rising in the White House.
You are a slave.